The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Café. This is the United Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Friends in Recovery podcast, the podcast that is here to help you, a loved one, or a friend get started down the road to recovery. This is the Friends in Recovery podcast, brought to you by the Genesis House. Genesis House, providing a safe, nurturing environment to heal from addiction since 1992. Please be a friend and share our message with a friend on Podbean, iTunes, iHeartRadio, or YouTube. And now, here are your Friends in Recovery.
Hey everybody, welcome to Friends in Recovery podcast. I'm the Podfather, Mike Miles. We're podcasting live from Studio 21 Podcast Café in the lovely Salem, New Hampshire. And I'm here today with my good friend Jersey Ed.
Hey Mike, how's it going?
Yeah, we have a guest today. We have Matt Petlock.
Hello.
Yeah. Hey Matt.
Ed, you want to tell us a little bit about Matt?
Yeah, I will. But first, let's get to some business and some housekeeping.
Love that housekeeping.
And we like to just always thank Genesis House for everything that they do for us. And sponsor our show, as you can hear at the beginning. I just wanted a couple reminders. Friends in Recovery meeting. Our alumni meetings are in New Jersey and Florida right now. If you need any information on our alumni meetings, you get a hold of Skylar N at genesishouse.net, and of course it'll be all in the show notes, so you can scroll through later and get all this stuff. Like us on Facebook, and yes, I am on Facebook now, Mike.
You are?
I am.
Good for you.
Yep. So I think it's
the full frontal face?
Yes. The Jersey Ed's on Facebook. So
nice.
So check that out. I think it's Ed Chionchio Senior. And you'll see my ugly mug up there. We're also Facebook Live via satellite, Ed.
If you say so.
I know a lot of technical stuff. So yeah, get us live on Facebook. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and any of your podcast catchers. That's important because it'll give you guys a notice when all these shows come out. And we are live, just like we are today, every Tuesday at 4:00.
Very good.
One announcement I'd like to kind of get out there. We just put something together a few weeks ago. The Atlantic City Marathon is October 19th and 20th. I do it on my videos on our Facebook page. I'm going to be running the half marathon.
Good for you.
And I'm encouraging everybody out there to kind of join us. So we're going to turn it into a little Friends in Recovery
nice.
kind of day for the marathon. So that's the Atlantic City Marathon, October 19th and 20th. And we're going to try to get a little group out there. If you want to go, just email us, email Skylar or Melissa. So it's Skylar N at genesishouse.net or Melissa H at genesishouse.net, and they'll tell you all about the little thing that we're doing. So that's the Friends in Recovery Atlantic City Marathon get together.
So half a marathon would be about 13 miles, Ed?
13.1, Mike.
13.1. I drove about 12 miles today, and I'm exhausted just from that. So good luck. Good luck with that.
Thank you. But there is an option of the full marathon, the half marathon, a 10K and a 5K you can do. And we encourage everybody to come out and kind of support us doing it.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Back to you, Mike.
Well, I'm not running a marathon. So, Matt, I'm reading your bio here, and it seems to me, it says here you struggle as a police officer, finding veteran first responders. We have a very difficult job. I'm a retired police officer. I don't know if you knew that, 35 years, and I couldn't agree with you more. And this has been an eye-opener for you, a life changer. And while you were on the job, you had no idea there were places out there like this that provide specialized care to veterans and first responders. And you also say it is so very needed, and I'm happy to be here to help my fellow brothers and sisters. And there's not a lot of us out there that do this. And I really applaud you. I've been doing this for over 32 years, helping cops and their families and firemen and their families and first responders and just people in general, but specifically police officers. And I understand you started a badge meeting up in the state of New Hampshire. It's the only badge meeting up there, from what I hear.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yep. And I'm really looking forward to hearing everything about it.
Absolutely.
Ed, you have a few things over there?
I do. About
Matt.
Matt actually works for Veterans and First Responders Healthcare. Is that correct?
That's correct.
In Manchester, New Hampshire.
Yes.
Okay, so that's basically an IOP for first responders.
Correct. We're outpatient,
Outpatient,
or
okay.
intensive outpatient.
Okay,
Yep.
up in
What town?
God,
Manchester,
Manchester.
yep.
Jesus.
Manchester, yeah.
It's been a long freaking day, Mike. But you're the outreach coordinator.
I am.
So if there's anybody out there that needs help, they can get a hold of you through your email or phone number,
Yep.
or how can they get a hold of
So you can always go to our website, VFR Healthcare in New Hampshire. You can email me directly. It's M as in Mike, PETLOCK at VFRhealthcare.com. Again,
Good.
it's M Petlock at VFRhealthcare.com.
you? Good. And it's a wonderful organization. I was there a couple days ago, and I was able to speak to all your great therapists there, and I was very impressed with what you guys do. And I try to send some cops up your way when I can. And it's a really good program. So any of you first responders that might be in New Hampshire area, or even whatever, just check it out. The badge meeting's really good, and all that. So I guess we're going to find out why you're here. Obviously, because we want to talk about where you work, but
Right.
why are you here? You know what I mean? And Mike read a little bit, but tell us about how you started. Where were you a cop at? You're kind of young. What are you, 22,
Well,
23?
I'm getting there. Yeah.
He's a kid compared to us, Mike. But tell us about a little bit about your journey, why, and how, and kind of what led you up to this point.
Yeah, I mean, so it was started off, I grew up in Springfield, Massachusetts, and not the best section of Springfield, Massachusetts.
Anywhere near the Basketball Hall of Fame?
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Very
it's out
close,
there.
yeah. One of the benefits of the area,
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so, when I was in middle school and high school, there was, good amount of crime around, and I had a big brother that started off as a police officer, park ranger, then police officer. So, just growing up in that kind of an environment, I think that's the beginning of what got me looking into law enforcement. I went to school for mental health and law enforcement because I was kind of torn between the two.
Sure.
I guess maybe I want to help people.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing my brother and what he does, it kind of pushed me forward.
So you're doing the best of both worlds, kind of here with this.
Yeah.
So you're kind of helping the police officers, and also you're also a police officer now.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I started off, I worked in Massachusetts, a couple small departments, police departments, part-time. And then I moved on to Vermont, where I became full-time police officer. And I did that for many years. And throughout that time, I was also in school for clinical mental health. And I'm currently getting closer to my degree, and my master's degree in clinical mental health. So, yes, I like both pieces of it. It's not just the law enforcement; it's the helping people, the psychology of everything.
Sure.
Yeah.
And
So it sounds like you want to make sure your fellow officers have their mental health together, basically.
That's the big thing is like he mentioned, when I was a cop in the beginning of my career, I didn't know anything existed that was specific to veterans and first responders. And you see a bad incident or something, you go to a fit for duty therapist, and you see them for an hour, and they're going to determine if you're going to go back to work or not.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't work. It didn't work for me, and it didn't help.
So the hour that you sit with them isn't cutting it basically.
And you're worried about your department, if they're gonna, what are they gonna do if you're not fit? You're gonna be able to go back to work.
Oh,
It's a very scary scary letter to be getting. This is how I see it. You go to a call, a suicide, somebody shoots himself or hangs himself, and then because of the trauma, the PTSD, the post-traumatic trauma, the after effect, your department might want you to go for a fitness. If your behavior changes, they might want you to go for a fitness of duty evaluation. Right there, that's a bag of stress that they throw at you, and now you have a bag of stress. You got to go and prove that you're capable of being, the same person you were prior to that incident. and I've been for a fitness evaluation, and it's just more stress. And what I see in law enforcement now, I was a cop 35 years, and I have a master's in social work. So I mean, I'm kind of a little bit ahead of you. I've done what you're about to do, and that's wonderful because I think that the job needs more people like that.
Yeah.
But what I see is, now, especially nowadays, it's so much harder because society in general, especially these politicians when it's election time, all they do is talk about police brutality, how horrible the police are. If there's a shooting, if the suspect is black and the cop is white, God forbid. And believe me, I'm not saying there's not some injustices out there. I'd be the first one to say I've seen it on TV. But I'd say 95% of the incidents are job-related. They were required, and the cop did the right thing. Good example, Michael Brown, Ferguson, Missouri. All lies. Hands up, don't shoot, never happened. Officer Wilson protected himself, got his gun back. He shot Michael Brown. It's a sad situation. Michael Brown was trying to take his gun. I'm sure he wasn't going to take that gun and start cracking walnuts with it. So he did his job. But it ruined this Officer Wilson's life. For me, as a retired cop in the city of Lowell, Massachusetts, population about 106,000, very, very, very multi-diverse city, Asian, Southeast Asian, Puerto Rican, some black, not a lot. My point is this. As a police officer, you're going to see things and do things, which you're doing right now, that you just didn't expect. But not everything you encounter is going to have an impact on you. Am I right?
That's 100% right, yeah.
Right, because we do have trainings, and we are kind of educated and trained to accept some situations that aren't good. But not all situations are just cut and dry. Some of them do stay with you. I had a young couple commit suicide my second year on the job. That was 40 years ago, excuse me, and I still can tell you exactly what they looked like, how the car smelled, what was in the car, the type of car, the plate number on the car. That's ingrained in my head beyond belief. Young couple, 17, 15. How would you not remember that,
Yeah. Now, let me ask you, both you guys, from an outsider's, from a civilian standpoint. Mike, you've retired. You're starting your career. Does every cop see something out there, like a critical incident, or is that going to be just part of the job? Is that like unfortunate, like the hazards of the job?
I mean, my experience is because I've worked in small departments, big departments, city, town, rural. You're going to see something. Everybody sees something, and whether everybody gets it affects everybody differently. What I'm going to remember as years from now, like you were just describing, might be different from what you would remember, but the long and the short of it is everybody's going to have some kind of trauma from the job.
And I really believe society in general, they don't understand whether you work in Somerset, Massachusetts, population 13,000, or you work in Boston, Massachusetts, population 900,000. You're still going to get the same type of calls, domestics, car accidents,
drugs,
suicides, drugs. Child molestation. You're going to be seeing the same crimes, just at a smaller rate. All right, it doesn't matter where you're from. Ferguson, Missouri. Who ever heard of Ferguson, Missouri before that incident?
No, yeah.
And they burnt half the city down. They looted. They stole. They did all kinds of stuff. That police department will forever be remembered for Michael Brown and Officer Wilson's shooting. And it's sad but true. If that happened in Boston, Massachusetts, I don't think you would have gotten the same response, although you would, especially when the news media is geared to take a police officer shooting incident or a police officer's drunk driving or anything a cop does that's not considered either to be legal or to be appropriate, and they're going to take it and they're going to blow it out of proportion because you're a cop. If you're an electrician or a plumber or a milkman, they're barely going to look at it. But once they see you wearing a badge, it's newsworthy. They're going to be all over it.
Yeah, it's newsworthy. That's the problem. It's newsworthy. Help the cop. How many times did you guys help? I'm just using this as help a little old lady cross the street or do something good for somebody.
Absolutely.
Did that ever make the newspaper?
They don't see that. Yeah,
they don't see that. I mean, you guys probably do more good in your day than any of this news. You're talking about Ferguson. Ferguson's on the map because of that, because of a shooting, because of something that went wrong that he did right. And but what about all the good stuff that you do all day? How about the little kid that maybe was lost or something that you guys found, or that you helped find their mom or dad or whatever, I mean, that stuff I would rather hear about. I really would.
Several years ago, many years ago, 20-something years ago, myself and another police officer went on a call. It was a domestic violence. The husband took the phone. He ripped it off the wall. He beat his wife. We get there. No phone. She has 2 children. So we decide between us, I don't know how we thought of it, we just started talking, hey, we work for the phone company all the time. Maybe they have some old phones we could keep in the cruiser. Well, we start this loan-a-phone program, and we get the help of the chief, and then we get Mass, at the time it was Ma Bell, it's been everything now.
Yeah.
But anyway, they give us a ton of hundreds of phones, and we keep them in the cruisers, and we get extra wires and plugs. So we could set a phone up before we left. Well, as a result, we get an award from the governor.
Wow.
And yeah, exactly. So we were involved. Lowell, the city of Lowell, Mass, was involved with the first loan-a-phone program in Massachusetts, probably in the country, to help. That never got much news coverage.
Right.
All right? But let me tell you another quick story, and then I'll stop. An old man's walking across the street one night. I'm in the cruiser. As I come around the corner, he falls off a curb. I jump out. It's a cold winter night. I help him up. Where do you live, sir? In the apartments about an eighth of a mile away. I lock my cruiser. I walk him. I take him. Some older man sitting on a bench, waiting for a bus, watches me. When I come out, asks me my name. For 30 years, that man sent me a Christmas card.
Oh, my God.
Every Christmas.
Wow.
I would get a card, and I hope he's listening, Ray Redigan, and he would tell me how he observed hey, Ray, how he observed this act of kindness. And to him, that meant everything.
Yeah.
30 years.
Yeah.
I probably met Ray 5 times over 30 years, spoke to him several times, but he never forgot that one act of kindness.
Yeah.
And it made me realize as a young cop
that,
Well,
that means we're going to take a break.
we're taking a break.
Yeah.
We'll be back. friendsandrecoverypodcast.com, and
More
we'll be
with
back.
with Matt.
Thank
That's
you,
right.
Genesis House.
Genesis House is a premier substance abuse and rehabilitation facility located in beautiful Palm Beach County, Florida. We have been providing the highest quality of addiction treatment since 1992 and are accredited by the Joint Commission. We offer a range of programs that include detox, residential treatment, dual diagnosis, a Christian track for people who want to incorporate their faith into treatment, a uniform services track, and we work with most major insurance carriers. Genesis House is led by a dedicated team of administrative and clinical professionals, and we stand on our commitment to excellence in recovery services. Contact us today to find out more about our program. Take the first step and call Genesis House at 800-737-0933 or visit us on the web at www.genesishouse.net. That's 800-737-0933 or www.genesishouse.net. Begin your journey to a long and successful recovery with Genesis House.
Hey, welcome back, friendsandrecoverypodcast.com. We're here with my good friend, Jersey Ed. Nice to see you, Ed. You're looking
there,
well,
Podfather.
healthy,
Thank you. Likewise.
And a good friend, Matt Petlock. And Matt, this is your second time on the show.
No. First time. Yeah, he came
second time
he
here.
came watched. Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Don't forget about our
Ed Sullivan.
Yeah, really. Come on, Mike.
Our producer extraordinaire.
Without him, we would probably be much better.
No,
Listen.
come on.
We just want to be mediocre with him.
You certainly helped me out before the show.
I did.
I wish the audience could see that Hawaiian shirt you got on.
That's right. Oh,
I
God.
feel like I'm in Hawaii.
Well, we're back with Matt Petlock from VFR. I know we've been talking some serious stuff, and I do want to talk one serious thing that I did hear something about going on up in New Hampshire, or I think it's New Hampshire. No, Massachusetts.
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. You're a cop in Massachusetts, aren't you?
I am in New Hampshire now, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was in
All
Massachusetts.
right, you were in Massachusetts. So you got attacked.
Oh,
I heard it was horrible.
it was bad.
As your almost first week on the job.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I can't believe you want to tell everybody, maybe get it off your chest to kind of let them know what happened.
Okay.
All
I mean,
right.
it's one of those
You
things.
can do this though, right?
I got you guys with me, so
All right, good.
to push me through. So it's one of those calls that you kind of fear you're going to get at some time in your life once you're in New England working on the job. I got it. It was the call of the large cow in the middle of the road. I made my way through many years not getting this call somehow, and I got it the other day. Large cow in the middle of the road ran away from the farm, and we had to get it back. So it didn't go so well. I didn't know much about the cows, and neither did the other officer I was with. So they said, maybe just go out there and kind of corral it back to the farm. be no problem. So
Now, this is in your job description when you took this job as a police officer?
Yes.
Okay, all right,
I was
good.
kind of aware this might happen. I just didn't think it would happen so quickly with this department. But, so I get out there. I see the cow. We did find the cow. He was headed for the she.
Well, it was probably really hard to find a 700-pound cow, I'm sure.
The funny thing is it took us a little bit. She was hiding in the woods and the bushes, but we did find the cow, and she was headed for the main road, and that's not going to turn out well. No. So I jumped out the cruiser and tried to, like they said, corral the cow back to the farm, and I didn't know the signs and the cues of when a cow doesn't want you to be near you.
You found them out pretty quickly, though, right?
So, the legs start going up and the head starts going, and long story short, the cow chased me back to the cruiser. And then I did what I should have done at the beginning, and we got the farm owner to do that.
See, now that should have made the newspaper,
That's right.
okay?
That's right.
But on my behalf, the farmer did say it was one of her feistier cows. So,
And I'd like to let everybody know at VFR, that was for you guys, okay? This story was for you guys. We put him on the spot, and he did it. So
they're gonna like that. Yeah.
So I have a similar story. I got a call one night for a bat, not a baseball bat, a bat, and a creature of the evening. And the elderly woman came to the door, and she had a laundry basket on her head, and she was holding a broom. She looked like one of the Cosby kids. And she said, "There's a bat upstairs, and I'm just wondering if you could, get it out of my house." And I thought, we have guns, and we didn't have pepper spray at the time. We had a gun and a club and some handcuffs, and I'm like, wow, no one ever told me about a bat. But there's no way I was going to leave this elderly woman petrified with the laundry basket on her head. So I went upstairs, I got a bath towel, and the bat was on a curtain, on a drape, and I snuck up on it and grabbed it and took it outside and released it, And I thought, boy, this job is interesting.
That's the thing.
This job
never
is
know.
interesting.
That's the stories we like to
Right,
hear.
right,
You guys do some good work, and it's not just all bad stuff out there. Listen, that cow, that owner's probably happy the cow's back. That woman, you made her night,
That's
and
right.
Life is
That's
good
right.
when stuff like that happens.
They give you a lot of training at the academy, but there's some things they don't really cover.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That might be one of them. Yeah.
Right.
Well, back to what I want to kind of find out what you're doing. And we know you're a police officer now, full time, and you are working with VFR. I know you said something about the CISM team you're part of, the New Hampshire CISM team. Do you want to kind of explain what that is and kind of what CISM means?
Yeah. So we are a VFR, Veteran First Responder Healthcare. We're an outpatient facility. One-on-one therapists and counselors, and then we have an intensive outpatient, which is more intense, Monday through Friday, a couple hours a day for substance use and mental health. But we are all the majority of the people that work there are first responders or veterans themselves. And one big thing that we have all kind of joined is the CISM team. It's the Critical Incident Stress Debrief team, the New Hampshire team. Right. And I know they have them in Massachusetts. Yep. I think they've had them for a long time.
Trained as a CISM responder, yes.
Very important stuff. And again, something I didn't really know was around until, pretty recent. Mm-hmm. But, you go out. If you think about it, any big incident that a first responder goes to, police involved shooting, a death of a child, like something really bad. Yeah. That doesn't even do bad. Something that's going to affect those first responders, and they could use some help just to
So this CISM team is specifically for the first responders. You're there for them.
For first, police, fire, EMTs, dispatch, which is very important. A lot of people forget about the dispatch.
Absolutely.
And mental health workers.
Yeah. And you do debriefings and.
The long and the short of it is it's a debrief. Everybody there, you talk through the event. From the beginning to the end, and who responded and did what, and it kind of gets it all out there instead of everybody hiding it and not talking about it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you don't want to sweep that kind of stuff under the carpet because it just festers.
In a lot of offices, they feel they might even feel targeted. Would you agree, Matt? Like if they're told to go to a debriefing, They might be like, I'm fine.
Absolutely,
I'm okay. It didn't bother me. And, more than likely it did not bother them. However, I think it covers the department's backside, so to speak, covers their ass, and it also covers the officer, because I think I've had a lot of cops and firemen and first responders come up after a debriefing and say, I really didn't think this was going to help, but I'm really glad I did this. Because when you ask each individual, what part did you play? Dispatch being one of the people, everyone always forgets. And I was a dispatcher when I first got out of the Army. They get the call. They have a headset on. Everything is focused on what that voice is telling them, and they're trying to visualize what happened.
Yeah. Yeah,
and and it's just it can be a very scary place to be.
Yeah. So, and the other thing I like is that you're a police officer and you're going out to see these guys. You're not part of that precinct or that
right.
whatchamacallit. So, if they're talking to you one-on-one, they know it's going to be confidential.
Right. Well, that's the biggest thing. It has to be confidential.
Yeah.
And that's why the team, that police department doesn't want to do it for that police department.
Yes.
You need outsiders. You need people that understand but are also not, part of it. So they can.
Now, if it is affecting them and you can see that, do you guys do kind of an assessment on them and say, okay, well, this is what we recommend? Or?
Well, that's the whole idea of it is to have, the team consists of, peers, first responders, but also mental health workers and therapists. So there's always someone there that, throughout the whole process, we're continuously assessing them, making sure they're okay, checking on them. And then afterwards we stay around and we don't just refer them to us. We refer them to whatever works, whatever they might need or nearby to them.
And like Mike said, some of them might not need it. You know what I mean? They might not affect them. Like you said at the beginning, what affected Mike may not affect you, and vice versa. Mike can see that suicide or that killing, grained in his brain.
The biggest thing that I've noticed, because I'm kind of new to the team, is the biggest positive of these debriefs is a lot of times, like the EMTs, the paramedic, or the firemen, they don't think that they did enough, or they don't think that they did something right.
They should have did more or whatever.
But once they all talk together, they reinforce each other, and they kind of like, you couldn't have done more.
Yeah.
Like you did everything you could, and everybody and they go out of that thinking, wow.
Cool.
Really
so instead of them all standing around by themselves, you kind of bring them all together on the scene and kind of
replay
it and get it done and over with and process it through. So that's great. That's really great.
Processing a scene like that is the operative word, because I'll give you an example. There was a bad fire in Lowell several years ago. It was directly next to a fire station. 5 people burnt to death or died from smoke inhalation. Some of them were children. I think 3 of them were children, 2 adults. And the fire department literally was right next door to the house. And the fire department, they were the second responders off. There was a police officer who was brand new on the job at the time. He was the first one there, and he was actually trying to get into the building, trying to catch people jumping out the window. He was trying to do everything, 3 o'clock in the morning. There's nothing worse than a fire. Nothing goes faster, more hectic, and more dangerous than a fire, because 2 deep breaths of smoke and you're out.
Wow.
And if no one knows where you are, I mean, you can have all the gear on, Scott air pack and everything, and you can still succumb to the flames, or the more than likely you're going to succumb to the smoke first. Right. But that whole group, everybody that was there was just in a daze, especially the firemen. They felt so guilty. I know they did, because they were right next door.
Yeah.
But it's just a sad situation.
Well, we thank God for you guys, because like I always say, and I even brought this up in the meeting the other day. I'm running away from fires and bullets, because that's not what I'm made up of. You guys run towards it, and we thank you guys so much, and that's why I dedicate a big part of my career of helping police officers.
You do.
And it means a lot to me that you guys do what you do. I was never in the service. I if you listen back, I have my story about the fire department. I tried to get on, and I was drunk, and you have to listen. But I just, it is what it is. So this is my way of hopefully giving back to you guys. You guys do a lot, man. Let me tell you, it's unbelievable. From cows to
that's it, and it means a lot to us hearing this. And when you said the letter that gentleman sent you,
right?
Yeah,
we get things like that, and as small as they are, they help us keep going.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, I can say this about Genesis House and Ed Chionchio. I've had friends, family members, people I love close brother officers, sister officers, family members of theirs go and receive the help that they so desperately needed. And nobody's ever stepped up more than Ed, Jeff Seisel.
Yeah, Jeff.
Was a big part of always been a big part of anybody I've ever helped. In Genesis House, Taylor, and everybody down.
Well, now we have VFR to kind of continue those services for us.
Nice.
You know, that kind of the back end of things. I mean, we're the foundation, but we need you guys. We need VFR to help these guys what we taught them. We gave them the base. You guys need to continue what goes on with them.
Right, because it doesn't just end.
No, after the 30 days in rehab, it doesn't stop because they need to go on to something like you guys. So real quick, we're coming to the end of the show. Matt, give us a quick overview. And I think you do have something coming up too that you want to talk about real quick before training or something.
Oh, right.
Quick overview of what you think of everything and give us a kind of the update on what you're training.
Yeah, so
then we'll let you go.
All right. It's a pleasure to be here. So yeah, like I said, we provide mental health services, substance abuse services to veterans and first responders. And unlike a lot of other organizations, we have a civilian track. So we focus on veterans and first responders, but we also do, of course, take civilians. And so we provide different services, no inpatient, which is why we work with different places like Genesis House, because, a lot of people really do need that inpatient first before the knowledge first.
Absolutely.
But another thing we do is we go to departments, police departments, hospitals, any organization that might need some type of training, education on, anything mental health related. It could be stress management. It could be self-care. And what's big for first responders is avoiding burnout. They're starting to training people like this in the academy, but for continuing education, we go to departments and facilities and kind of give them like a yearly update. Good. To keep them like, how can I
keep it in the forefront of their minds?
Going,
right?
How basic stuff, like self-care, work out, do stuff that makes you happy.
Yep, absolutely.
Keep you going, kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Super.
Well, that is the end of the show, Mike.
Matt Petlock, nice having you.
What a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you very much
sir.
for having me.
Yeah, great. Thank you, guys.
Ed, Jersey Ed, you want to sign off?
I will. Stay sober, everybody.
Yep. Thanks for having us.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Café, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.